Alright, so let me give you the rundown of Woodstock. Woodstock was a music festival that lasted for 3 days from August 15th to August 18th of 1969. It included 33 acts, including Janis Joplin, Richie Havens, Jimi Hendrix, Santa Ana, and The Who. Pretty cool bands, right? Well, 500,000 people thought so too. That's why they all came to Max Yasgur's farm in Bethel, New York. The organizers of the event only planned for 200,000 people to show up. So when 300,000 extra people stormed the property, the organizers had no choice but to let them in for free because they couldn't keep track of the constant flow of people. They didn't have enough tickets, they didn't have enough ticket booths. It was mass chaos. Traffic jams were lined up all the way down the street for miles. People had to walk to get to the concert. I mean, just imagine 500,000 people having to share 600 bathrooms on this man's farm. I mean, the energy was crazy. Let's just talk about the weather too. So it started off perfect, sunny, and warm on August 15th, but rain quickly became a major issue. I mean, we've all seen the famous pictures of attendees frolicking in deep mud. The concert was only scheduled to run Friday through Sunday, but carried over into Monday due to lengthy delays caused by thunderstorms. Despite the storms, food shortages, and lack of organization, this event needed to happen. In a decade of unrest and protest, the four young entrepreneurs who organized Woodstock wanted it to be an escape into music and to spread a message of unity and peace. The 60s was a difficult time. There was the JFK assassination, the Berkeley Free Speech Movement, Civil Rights Act was passed, the MLK assassination, the Vietnam War, and the list goes on. It wasn't all just peace and love. And that's why Woodstock happened in the first place. People were looking for an escape from all the struggles that America was facing. An escape. I mean, that's what a lot of people were looking for. The hippies' ideal just society was to come together and do whatever they please, like openly walk around nude and do drugs, have sex without government interference. Woodstock was a success for the hippies in that they were able to demonstrate that the counterculture could come together and live peacefully and freely without interference from cops, guns, or Nixon. James Madison once said, "If men were angels, no government would be necessary." And these hippies, they wanted to prove that. And they wanted to be free. What is freedom to the people of Woodstock? Woodstock attendees might say that freedom is to pursue happiness by loving everyone and to do as they please without government interference. Coolidge said that freedom is the sacred right to life, liberty, property, and pursuit of happiness. If these people wanted to pursue happiness through means of drugs, they wanted to do that. That was how they did it. To most of those people, though, Woodstock was not about the sex and drugs and rock and roll. Richie Havens said it was about spirituality, about love, about sharing, about helping each other, and living in peace and harmony. And I think that's what made Woodstock so special and significant in history. People were able to come together when it seemed like no one in the country could come together because their views on life were so opposite from one another. So, how does Woodstock relate to me? Well, even though I don't agree with everything in a hippie's philosophy of life and freedom, it's inspiring to see how, in the midst of chaos, music can bring different kinds of people together. At Woodstock, anti war activists were able to sing along right next to veterans who fought in the Vietnam War. As American citizens, even though it is important to acknowledge our differences, it's arguably even more important to be able to put those differences aside and come together to create something beautiful, a moment that will be talked about throughout all of history.